Eliminating.
There it is, and just like that, we are live on a Tuesday night for Talk Time with TJ, Triple T, number 215 on February 10th, 2026. I want to welcome you all here. My name is TJ Zebel. I like to refer to myself as a professional problem solver, which I always follow up with, no, I don't know everything. I just have a unique way of asking questions to help people find the solutions they are looking for. I want to thank you for either joining us live or watching the recording. If you're watching the recording, please share this with as many people as possible. For those of you out there live, please do all of you, do me a big favor, do the YouTube stuff. Click the subscribe button and ring the bell. Leave some comments, like some videos, leave some more comments. And while we're at it, we're going to say, hi, Mom, up in Minnesota. Let's see, what do we got? For those of you that have not been to my YouTube channel yet, it's under TSWB Helps. And by the time the night's over, we'll have 215 live videos and some of my recorded classes and a whole bunch of content on there, so check it out. Another place you can check out is my website at www.thetSWB.com, thetallskinnywhiteboy.com. That's what it stands for, always has since way before the internet. So if you find anything else under TSWB and it doesn't look like me, that is not I. But on the website, you're going to find list of some of the stuff that I'm privileged to help people with, such as depression, anxiety, phobias, PTSD, grief, relationships, still getting relationship stuff. So if you know anybody that is going to be single during Singles Awareness Day coming up, have them reach out. I'd be happy to help them get through whatever blocks they're keeping them from finding their special somebody. Even those that are actively in relationships or married and it's not quite what they had envisioned. I've helped a number of couples out as well. I'm not a marriage counselor. I'm not a couples therapist. I just know a few things, and I've got some protocols that I came up with for myself, and they seem to be helping a number of people out. So we got that. If you click on the About Me tab, scroll down a little bit, there'll be a little white box that says click here for a PDF to learn more about TJ. And that gives a little background into how I got here and some of the stuff I do, some of my certifications, some of the classes that I teach. And if any of that interests you, you can call me up. I offer a free 30-minute consultation. That's right, no charge to you. 30 minutes of my time, we can chit-chat. You can tell me what kind of challenges you're facing. And at the end of 30 minutes, if I feel that we're a fit, I'll let you know. But I also promise you, if I feel that we are not a fit, I will let you know, and I will do my best to help you find the right person to get you the solutions to what you're up against. There, big breath. And time to introduce the tie of the week. Every week I wear a different tie, and I've got more than a year's worth, so we're keeping them on rotation. But you guys will recognize some of these fine folks here from our amazing childhood. Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Great one. Classics.
Because I'm serial like that. Now that we got that done, anybody got anything cool and awesome that they want to share from the last 7 days since we were here? Yes, no, maybe. Lenora.
I would like to thank the spectacular Holly. She gave me such fantastic book recommendations because I know we're putting together the Triple T book list. And Holly sent me at least 20 links, which is absolutely fantastic. And if anybody else would like to join in on their favorite books, on books that we've talked about, books that they'd recommend, books that help shift their insights or their perspectives, gave them great ahas and downloads of all kinds, please send me the link or tell me the author or the name of the book, anything you'd like. You're welcome to text me or Facebook me, YouTube, whichever your heart desires, and we will get them on the Triple T book list.
Yes, awesome.
Very awesome.
Thank you both. Something I've been talking about, and that's the importance of having good people in your tribe to help you accomplish things that just can't seem to get done on your own. Who else has something to share from the last 7 days? I do.
Mm-hmm.
We got a new addition to the family, and he is crashed out over there.
He's with you.
Oh yeah, got a new dog.
That's very exciting.
After losing our German Shepherd, we got us they say he's a Lab Pyrenees cross. He's white, which our other dog is a Lab Pyrenees cross as well. He's a little bigger, but this one is the same height, but very athletic. And our dog that we had before, his name is Bo. So we named this one Arrow. So we got Bo and Arrow. And
that is so cute.
he is supremely fast, so I guess he kind of lives up to the name, or the name lives up to him one way or the other. So
that's awesome. Congratulations.
Yes, and I do not recommend any dog lovers to go to a dog rescue. Oh yeah, I was ready to come home with about 5. Yeah, there was an amazing female Malinois there. Just had puppies, and they had one puppy left. And yeah, I was like, no puppies. And yeah, so we got Arrow as the addition.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
That's very exciting.
Anybody else got anything they want to share? All right. Well, for those of you that are new to the show or watching the recording for the first time, the way this goes, it's a 2-hour show. And the first hour, I do my best to get through 3 topics. And if you've been around Planet TJ, you know why I say it that way. We do our best to get through 3 topics. And then at the after the first hour, we shift things around a little bit, and it's open mic, open platform. Anybody on the call can bring up a question or a topic. And I forgot to do this. Yes, that's right. I got so wrapped up, I forgot to start the recording.
Very unlike you.
Good thing it's live. So we'll have that recording. There are days. Where was I? Oh, yes. Second hour open mic, open platform. Anybody on the call can ask a question, bring up a topic. I let all the people on the call answer first because I like to learn as well. And if after everybody's answered, if I still feel I've got something to add to the mix, that's when I throw in my 2 centavos. So it is, I guess, time to get the show on the road, or the road on the show, and announce the topics of the night. Tonight's topics are, I typed in, and yes, it's been one of those nights. The topics are the ladder, 26.2, and new beginnings. So, the ladder. If you've been around Planet TJ enough, you've heard me talk about, especially with my relationship clients, about climbing the ladder, bettering yourself, becoming a better person, letting go of old thoughts, old habits, old things, figuring out how to level up and finding the tribes and everything. And you also know that a lot of my subject matter comes from my clients. And one of the things that I noticed is I've had a number of clients now that are doing amazing. They are absolutely climbing the ladder and they are improving, and the people around them are constantly letting them know that they are improving and they're very impressed. However, they unfortunately go through the growth part of the ladder, where as they're climbing, the people that they meet along the way aren't climbing with them. And they keep climbing, and they grew to love these people, and they want to bring them up with them, or they notice that these people love them and try to bring them back down to the rung that they're on, which can make for some pretty hard decisions. And it's not that the people that they met on that level are bad or they just don't get it or any of that stuff. It's simply that that's the level that they're at. It's kind of like if you were in school and you were allowed to either stay in a grade that you're comfortable with. You like third grade. Third grade is great. We get our nap time and we get treats and all this stuff. And some people are like, wait, there's more grades? And if I graduate to higher grades, I can get a better life? For real? And so you work your butt off and you get through third grade, fourth grade, fifth grade. But now you're in a different room, and the third grader still wants you to come back, and you miss them. And you realize that you don't really know anybody in fifth grade. You got to go out and meet them. But with climbing the ladder, it can get lonely because depending on how fast you're climbing, how much amazing work you're doing on yourself, by the time you meet somebody in fifth grade and get to be good friends with them, you may already be in seventh grade. And you only met two people in fifth grade. Now you got the people in third grade and fifth grade that are trying to pull you back down to their level. And some of them get inspired. That's one of my clients today. They were doing the relationship work and doing a great job. Well, a year and a half ago, they met somebody, staying with the metaphor, they met somebody who was in third grade. Didn't take long before they already graduated to fifth grade. They broke up. the person, of course, found somebody from third grade. Actually, sounds like they found somebody from second grade because it was easier to impress them. And they started thinking more about my client and how they met in third grade, but my client left in fifth grade. Following me so far? Well, the problem is, by a year and a half later, when they finally decided to get to chatting again, the third grader had decided, wow, they were really cool. I wish I knew some of the stuff that they did and how to handle things like they did. So they started working on themselves and made it to fourth grade. Well, my client was already in eighth grade. And the person has been working really hard on themselves. And I would say they've probably made it up to sixth grade now. Even their family is making comments that this person is completely different after meeting my client. And they're doing great work. The problem is, my client is growing still at a phenomenal pace. And this person that they're with now is growing, but the lead is getting longer and longer. And my client is getting kind of bummed out about it because they don't want to stop the growth. They don't want to shift backwards. They don't want to. They've been trying to help this person catch up, realizing that they can't do it on their own, neither one of them. And the other person is trying to do all this work by themselves, simply out of inspiration of my client. Yes, it is one of those like perplexing romance type things. But my client, of course, now is in this quandary. When you've reached a certain level and you know that there's 10 levels more, and there actually there is no top level. The sky's the limit. You can, at what point do you go, it's fun, it's been great, but I need somebody that is either on my level or above my level. And that's where my client is at right now. Any thoughts, epiphanies, ahas on this story, if you were able to follow along? Holly.
Oh my goodness, I have so many thoughts running through my head. So first of all, I go back to that comment where we talk about people are in our lives for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. And I think sometimes we could get very confused and it could be rough when we miscategorize somebody. And I think it could go multiple ways. So we might say, this person's meant to be in my life for a lifetime. And then you work with them for a while and you suddenly realize, nope, they were meant to be in my life for a season. And that could be really painful. But I think also sometimes if we could be very quick to pick somebody who really should stick around for a lifetime and just say, oh, there's this one tiny area where we're different. I need to drop you now. And so I had a couple thoughts because I don't know why I just started thinking about Reba, and I don't necessarily think they handled it perfectly, but in the TV show Reba, they have two people who are married who start moving and growing in completely different directions. And one person goes from, basically he puts his life back together after having falling back. He gets this really good work ethic. He's getting really good in that area. But his wife starts learning to stop being so shallow and to start serving other people. So they both are growing. They're just growing in different aspects of their life.
Yeah.
And so, it can be very easy to look at the other person and say, look where I'm growing and you're not growing. And then they're looking at you saying, look where I'm growing and you're not growing. So, I think there's truth that if one person's just refusing to grow and the other person's growing all the time, what the biggest problem is, it creates cognitive dissonance for the person who's not growing, because when you grow, you're taking away their excuses, you're taking away their stories. And so it becomes very uncomfortable for them to stay put.
Mm-hmm.
But I think at the same time, and at that point, so I was thinking of what Matthew Hussey, he calls it the teething period. When you grow, you go back to the people who are in your life, and one of two things will happen. Well, one of three things. Either one, they will pull you back down to their level again.
Yep.
Because you are not able to control your state, you're not able to stay where you're at. Or two, they will adjust to the new you. That doesn't mean they have to meet you where you are, but it means they have to accept you where you are.
Yes.
So it's one of those, okay, you've grown in this new area. I don't understand it. I'm not up with it yet. I'm doing my own thing, but I love and support who you are now. Or the third thing is they opt out of your life. And that's usually because the cognitive dissonance says, you're taking away my excuses, you're taking away my story. I can't live around that because I need to tell myself, maybe the reason I'm poor is because, I'm unlucky and you had the same luck as me and all of a sudden you're making money. Or the reason nobody wants to be with me in a dating relationship is because of my weight, but you have the same weight as me and all of a sudden you're dating, like whatever story it is they're telling themselves that you're taking away, they may opt out of your life. If they opt out of your life, they were not meant to be in your life for a lifetime, and you can't control that. You can't control if they opt out. But one of the thoughts that I was thinking is, what happens if they don't opt out of your life? You're growing in different directions, so their priority is something different, and your priority is something different. That's perfectly fine. What do you do at that point? And I had two thoughts. So one is I was thinking about our castle. And it's like, maybe as you grow, you build new rooms to your castle. And yes, when we talk about one person's allowed on the grounds, one person's allowed in the castle, whatever it may be, is it possible that your inner room is now in a different location and this person's not going to come in when you're working on that part of you because they don't understand it? But they're still allowed on the grounds. They're still allowed in certain rooms where they're safe. As long as they're willing to respect your boundaries, as long as they're willing to respect the new you, you still need to surround yourself with a new tribe. They can't be your tribe on this particular journey. But that doesn't mean you have to ditch them on other areas of your journey where they're still a good match. It doesn't mean you can't go visit them when the times are appropriate.
Yes.
And then the other thought that came into my mind, it's, we've called it before the Zen, when you talk, the Kuji, that's what it's called. But the Bible says it's, make sure you don't cast your pearls before swine lest they turn again and rend you. Just because you have that higher knowledge, you can invite them to come along. But when they say either, I don't want to come along because I'm not ready, or I don't want to come along because I have a different priority. This is not about judging them. You just say, you know what, you're at your place in your journey, I'm at my place in my journey, we're both going to honor each other. But once I recognize you're not ready for this knowledge yet, I am not going to constantly put it in your face. I'm going to talk about it with the tribe that's ready for it. I'm going to talk with you about other areas of my life where we can still communicate. So anyway, just a bunch of things that were running through my mind. But because, there are people that are going to be for a lifetime. And if you think you're going to be perfectly in step on every single aspect of your life with someone who's a lifetime person, it's not going to happen. That doesn't mean you have to cut them out of your life. But if they're not supportive, not respectful, or if they opt out of your life, those are both signals that they were either meant for a reason or a season. And sometimes we have to honor that as well.
Awesome, as always. I'm so glad you're on here. Mark.
I had a few thoughts as well. As they kind of cascaded in the squirrels, and one of them was when you're both here, as you start to go up the ladder, or you start to evolve, as I like to say, and you start to, take a new class, get a new degree, get a new job, and you're moving, your status is increasing. Well, the people that you used to hang out with down here, you know, they're they believe that they're stuck at that level, that status level. So in some cases, they'll try to drag you back down to their level, okay? Because, you know, basically you are showing them if they just got off their dead ass and got to work on themselves, that they also could go up there. And but they'd rather try to drag you back down to their level rather than start to evolve. And David D'Angelo, I think I got the quote right. He said, as far as status goes, a woman won't be with a guy who she perceives as being lower than her. She always seems to want to get involved and get, to date and to marry a guy who is either at her status level or above. So, she sees qualities in this, this high energy partner that she might want to have in her progeny, a leader. This is why women are always drawn to the leader. And, and something Holly said triggered another about growing. When you're in a relationship, you're either growing together or you're growing apart. And that has to be paid attention to as well. Just some random thoughts.
Good stuff. And there's so much packed in all of that. I'm glad we're recording this because a lot of my clients are going through all of the stuff you just heard. Growth differences, changes in values and criteria, working on themselves, dealing with partners and friends that don't want to work on themselves. They're happy in their comfort zone. They are like, I know this place, it's safe. I don't want to. Why are you doing this thing? Why are you out there venturing and becoming this new person? Oh my gosh, how can you handle all this change? And the other ones were, I don't like being around you anymore because you're not as easy to manipulate anymore. You took all the fun out of it. Now you've got boundaries, and now you've got goals, and you've got ambitions, and you've got all these other things. And the thing that Holly pointed out about reasons, seasons, or lifetime, that I hadn't heard that one or heard it that way. I like that one as well. The one I heard was reasons, seasons, or lessons. And that seasons can be for 5 seconds, 5 minutes, 5 years, 5 lifetimes. And lessons can be just from bumping into somebody and hearing something different that makes you go, oh, I've never thought of it that way. And having the initiative, the willingness, and the intelligence to change, allow yourself to change. A lot of people will come across great lessons, but they're too afraid to apply them because, well, then who will I be? I won't be me. I won't be the person that I was before. Then what? Lenora.
I like how you said people won't necessarily allow themselves to change because who would I be? And that's still with the story. One thing that I found, not so much who will I be, it was that I was quite stuck in a shame loop where if I change, then people will say this about me. And it was very painful to keep looping through that. And the only way that I realized that I was looping through that was because I would have conversations with open-minded people like yourselves. And it became very apparent as you keep talking about it. You're like, well, then this will happen, then this will happen, then this will happen, and then oh, I'll feel they'll put that on me. And something that I really often go back to is, who taught you this? When did you get this experience? Or where was this that this came about? Because if you come in, and I love there's a reel with Salma Hayek where she's talking in another language and she's saying, I could curse you out, but you wouldn't understand it in this language. It would mean nothing to you. Your language has meaning because of what you were taught, because of your experiences, how you've decided to integrate it, relate to it, label it, whatever you want. But when you get to look at that, and especially when you look at that with somebody who is looking at it with you, not as a way to shame you, but especially in a different state of mind, because your friends could commiserate with you, whereas when you have a coach or a therapist or a practitioner of some sort, they're coming from a different mindset. They're not so related into it, and it makes a huge difference because now you're looking at it and they're not shaming you, but you're able to get it out. And I think especially when it comes to our stories about finance, I've had several conversations over the last 3 weeks, last 2 weeks or last 3 weeks, and people have said to me, I've wanted to, I don't usually talk about this with people, but for some reason, you feel like I can talk to you about it. And that's the huge difference, especially even when you want to show your most, or you don't want to show your most ugly piece or your most vulnerable piece, because what is this person going to think? There is a difference. And people, how we all relate to each other in this group, or whether you have other practitioners that you trust and whatever it may be, that's the difference. That makes your entire life different.
A whole lot said in that little part, yes. And that again becomes the challenge. Dealing with, it's almost like you have to relearn how to deal with people that you grew up with, because they're expecting you to come back. You have to be this person. This is the person that we know. Why are you changing? I don't even understand you. Your thinking is so different anymore. Well, yeah, I grew up. What do you mean you grew up? You're 55. Yep. And there is no limit to the time that you can continue to grow. That's why I love seeing people that are, you find grandma went back to college and got a degree on something and she's 80 years old. And people are like, why? And my thought immediately is, why not? If you're not growing, you're dying. Holly.
Yeah, I just had an interesting thought from what Lenora was saying that triggered it. So often when we're growing, we're looking at what we currently have, and the people who are around us are looking at what they currently have. And when we try to move up, they're worried about what they might lose, and sometimes that might be healthy. They're not ready to grow yet, but they don't want to lose the friendship. Sometimes that might be unhealthy. They just learn they can't manipulate you anymore, whatever it may be. And we're looking at it as, I have a tribe and now I'm stepping into the unknown and now I'm going to have to build a whole new tribe, and how hard is that? But I was just thinking about it. Isn't it interesting if you look at it backwards? What would the people you're about to meet want you to say? What would the people you're about to meet want you to do? How would the people you're about to meet want you to live? And just look at it this way, like look at the tribe you're in now. And if you could go backwards and go back to where you had to be, would you make that decision? It's always, it made you work to get there, but it's always worth it. And it's the people you're about to meet are going to see you a heck of a lot more clearly than the people that you're leaving behind.
1000%. Because the amount of growth I had to go through to meet you guys, had I not been lucky enough and persistent enough to do that, I wouldn't know you guys. And that would bum me out. Mark.
The yeah, something that's Holly said I think it's James Thurber, Our Town. And the tagline is you can't go home again. You
Yes.
go on the hero's journey, and the and when you try to go home, like I said, you've become more. And like when you did all your traveling, the stories you told us about, traveling in Europe and the adventures you went on, and when you go back home to that small town, well, you just can't go home again because you're the one who has become something more. And that 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 knowledge, like I said, you can't go back. You can't stay where you're at. So, as Mom said, you got to keep pushing forward. And then on every level that you ascend to, you've got to find a tribe like you, amazing people that that you can relate to, that you can, help you further you in your journey. So, like I said, yeah, I think it was James Thurber that Our Town play, and you find you just can't go home again because you're not, because you're different and you're coming back to that their reality, and they have to accept that you're not the same person.
Yeah. And Mom watched me go through that when I came back from Europe. And unfortunately, I had all that momentum built up, and I got sucked back into the box, and it was small and it was uncomfortable because I remembered who I was allowed to be in Europe.
Like an old suit you don't fit into anymore.
Yeah, Lenora.
I wanted to respond to the comment. And the person said, that is what I hear now on a day to day. You're changing so much. I don't understand you. You have different ideas. And this also, especially when this happens, we start to develop boundaries, which I often joke. I think it was here that I first said it, like boundaries would be great if you could order them on Amazon and they were just like there then in 2 days and you had these great boundaries, especially when you start thinking differently or growing or having a different mindset and the people around you are saying, I don't understand you. What can sometimes happen is rather than saying, you're thinking differently, I'm trying to keep up with you, I'm trying to follow your thoughts, they can come across not in the nicest way. And I wanted to let that person know that we get it. Unfortunately and fortunately, we get it because we've been in similar positions. And I didn't realize when Dr. David Snyder on his YouTube videos, so like 2012, 2013, 2014, I had a ton of David Snyder on my YouTube channel. And he would say, when you start learning this stuff, or even when you start thinking and reading and expanding and integrating, people around you will change and you will change and your relationships won't be the same. And I didn't understand. I was like, no, I mean, and it really is accurate.
Yeah.
And the best thing that I have learned is they don't know what they don't know. They're not intentionally trying to be mean. You're also stirring in them you're lighting their nervous system up in their whole mindset of they might not feel good enough. They might not feel worthy. Might not feel deserving. And when somebody else comes in with a different mindset, this whole thing just starts going berserk. And their defense is, well, you're just changing. And they're coming at you and attacking you when really they're saying, I don't match, and now I feel inadequate. Now I feel less than, and I don't know what to do other than attack.
Yeah.
And it really is a defense, and it really is a protective mechanism. And if we can acknowledge that they don't know what they don't know, and that there is, I think, there is such a deep hunger, there is such a deep, I can't not read. I can't not look stuff up. I can't not have conversations. I can't go into conversations and talk about the weather and feel satisfied in the conversation. It doesn't fill me. It drives me bananas.
Or gossip.
Or gossip. Exactly. So if you can acknowledge that they are, even though you're existing together, they are on a different vibration, and you happen to be on a different vibration, and simply going, they don't know any different because they don't have that desire, and they don't have that passion to keep growing. And that's okay. It doesn't make them bad. It doesn't make them good. It just is. But to simply acknowledge and to let yourself feel like, oh, it doesn't have anything to do with me. It really doesn't. There's this one quote, last thing I'm going to say is this amazing quote by Abraham Hicks. And it says, people will love you and people will hate you, and none of it will have anything to do with you. And it really is based on their own perceptions. And it's also based on your own perceptions.
Yeah. Extremely well said. Mark.
I'd forgotten when you said that, Lenore, about, too bad you can't order, new boundaries on Amazon. Have you tried Costco?
I haven't, but I will look into it.
Okay.
Maybe there's like a vacation package.
Well, they might actually have like a box that says
Oh,
level
that's a
up.
good one.
Okay.
Maybe.
I don't know what's in
Can you
that
get like
box,
3 sets?
but you could look for a deal, but you could, because when you level up to the next rung of the ladder, like TJ was saying, like I said, everything changes. So, it'd be nice if you could order a set of 3 on at Costco and be able to, but each level requires a period of stabilization. You got to get grounded on that level. You got to find people on that level. You got to create a tribe on that level, but you know that you're going to be going to the next level eventually when when it's supposed to happen. So, but yeah, I just when you said that, I was like, oh my God, that's so funny. But but maybe you could you might try the Costco website. They might have that box of boundaries, so.
Excellent call.
Well, had a squirrel just deliver this. It's too bad that we don't get certificates for advancing a level. Something that we could hang on the wall where we could just go, it's not you, it's me. I graduated to the next level. I got the piece of paper. Like, if you tell people that, okay, I graduated high school, but I've been going to college and I'm getting my master's or getting my doctorate, people are like, oh, so you might be able to speak a little bit different language than I do. Yes, I can still talk to you, but I'm not going to be working at Pizza Hut anymore. Well, that's where we started working together, and think about all the good times we had when we were working there, and yes, I was there. It was a good time. I had a great time. We were in 11th grade, but we're not there anymore. And I hang around with people who have doctorates now. Holly.
When Lenora was talking about you have to remember that people don't know what they don't know, I'd completely forgotten about this dream I had this week, but I just had to share it. I had this dream that there was a 2-year-old who basically just barely started to talk, and their parents had taught them, they asked him, what is 2 plus 2? And the 2-year-old would say 4, right? It was this little party trick they did. And they came to this, party, and there was somebody who has a PhD in physics who was present, and the person with PhD in physics said, "What's 52 plus 56?" And the kid said 4 because the kid can barely talk. It's a party trick. But the funny thing in the dream was the person with the PhD just got apocalyptic and kept trying to explain to the 2-year-old why this couldn't be true because even 52 is already bigger than 4. And, they were purple with rage just trying to explain over and over. And I was just sitting back on like laughing of, why are you trying, there's no way this 2-year-old can understand this conversation that you're having. Why are you so mad? Why are you wasting all this time? One day they're going to be older and you can explain all of this to them and it will probably make sense. But, like, this is literally a conversation that's just a waste of your time, a waste of their time. It's making your blood pressure go through the roof. So anyway, I was just thinking, next time that you've raised to another level and someone is trying to explain to you, just have that image of a 2-year-old saying, what is 2 plus 2? Oh, it's 4. It's a party trick. They don't understand what's actually going on, and the conversation isn't even worth the time. So
Exactly. Yes. Another great one. Mark.
Yeah, as Lenore was talking, I remembered I was at Hypnothoughts and I really felt I had leveled up. And metaphorically, I was, seeing things through new perceptual eyes and of like a dragon. And, and then I ran into John Masters, who I've
Yeah.
mentioned before. And John was just so kind and he was so far above, I don't know how far above it on the levels he was, but you know, he looked at me and he goes, "Yeah, you need to get grounded on this level." And he literally like shackled me to the earth, metaphorically. He's like, I had to, because you just leveled up and you're very unsteady right now. You haven't gotten grounded on this new level. And he literally, with his energy, shackled me to the earth for only for a day or two. And then when I finally settled into that new level, I kind of looked down with my inner eyes and I saw that shackle just dissolve, but he did that as a mentor, as a friend.
Yeah.
And he knew I was, like I said, he knew I'd leveled up and he knew I needed to get grounded on this new level of reality. And, again, sometimes people that are that far above you will, take you, mentor you. And, his friendship was one of the, is one of the highlights of my life to have known him and interacted with him. But he was, very kind individual. And he,
Yep.
like I said, and, he recognized I had just leveled up and needed to get grounded. And, with his energy, he took steps to make sure that was going to happen.
Yeah.
That's a friend.
I feel honored to have gotten to know him as well. Great person. One thing I was going to bring up while Lenore was talking, it pointed out the reason why I invest so much time teaching my students and my clients about protective and toxic empathy. As you're climbing the ladder and reaching these levels, and you get people that get frustrated because they don't know you anymore. They don't understand the language you're talking and all of these things. And you have to be able to look at them with protective empathy and just go, I get it. You don't know me anymore, but you can't allow it to be toxic empathy and allow them to drag you back down to their level just for their comfort. Like one of the quotes of, don't ever dim your light because you're too bright for some people. Show them where to buy sunglasses or get them a better bulb. Some people are like glow sticks. You just want to snap them and shake them a little bit, see if they'll brighten up. What? And here we are. We got 9 minutes left.
How are those three topics?
Yeah, we've got one topic so far. So I'm going to jump into trying to get us at least 2 topics in this hour. And we're going to jump into 26.2. 26.2. What are we talking about? Is this a marathon? Is this a running thing? Is this a what? Well, kind of, but no. This is 2026.2 months in. And how is your 26 going? Because we've got point 1 already done. And I know that a lot of people came up with all these grand ideas of, oh, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to change this, and I'm going to give up this. And how are we doing? Are we on track? Are you keeping track? Do you have a goal set in mind? Do you have a destination in place? Do you have something that you can actually track your progress with? And I know quite a number of people that are just on cruise control. They've got autopilot on. We're going to end up somewhere. My destination is happy. Well, good for you. Try putting that into your GPS. Where do we want to go this year? Happy. Content. Well, we're at 26.2. You got 10 and a half left. I had to remind a couple of my clients who still have not reverse engineered their year. Go to January 1st, 2027, and write down a short summary of what happened in the year 2026. What'd you do? Where'd you go? What did you work on for yourself? How did you improve? What has changed in your life, in your bank account? What's changed in your relationship status? What has changed in your parking lot? What's changed in your driveway? What's changed at work? Where did you go for vacation? What classes did you take? What goals have you accomplished? Did you write that book? Did you do that little side hustle thing that you've been talking about? What did you do in the last 5 weeks to make sure you're on the right road to get to those places? 26.2. Any ahas, epiphanies, comments on that one? Lenora.
I like the idea of that you've got 10 months to go. I do like that idea. That being said, I don't have a goal.
Ooh.
And I think, like, I would say perhaps I have a goal, which would be to be more present and more living in alignment, whatever that might look like at that moment in time. I had many goals over the years, and I don't have like, it's not like, oh, get on the TEDx stage or get a keynote. Right now, it is simply to be in as much joy as I possibly can, because I don't like some of the human stuff that we can really get wrapped up in. I was like, I come here and I get to spend time with all of you people. And amazingly, I don't know if you guys find this amazing. I find it amazing that every Tuesday, or for some 215 Tuesdays, I've had the privilege to sit here with you and to share ideas and to hear from different people and learn from different people. And Holly, you have been there from the start. TJ, you have been there from the start. And my life is infinitely better because of growing and because of this space. And then to get wrapped up in stupid shit that I get wrapped up in, or that I hear some people just getting wrapped up in. And it's like, you're upset because somebody didn't bag your groceries at the grocery store fast enough? Really? Like that's what we're going to complain about? And I think we can easily, and the culture would have you happily getting lost in reels. And I signed into something the other day, and it was like an app to help you monitor your phone, and I was just curious about it. And the statistic was that you will spend some 21 to 28 years on your phone.
Mm-hmm.
Like in time. Holy crap. That's an insane amount of time for somebody who just turned 40. And to also have the experiences like TJ had mentioned about going to Europe, or like Duncan gets these experiences of looking at these incredible units that he gets to restore, and you guys get to restore cars. Or some people like to go hiking. I love to go hiking and be in awe of that, or to be present with your dog, or to watch a sunset. I know, Holly, at one point you got to go and visit TJ in Texas to watch the eclipse. These are, or like when we sit with clients and they have these beautiful insights, like those are so precious to me. Writing a stupid note that nobody's going to read makes me want to scream. And it's so out of alignment with what I want to do and paying attention to what I want to do in alignment, which is to be present, to spend time with all of you, to have these satisfying conversations, to talk about the many things that we talk about, or learn about the many things that we enjoy learning about. So to make a long story short, I don't have a goal of like, I want to accomplish this. It is simply to be more present and enjoy life more. It was a very roundabout way, but thank you for listening to my rant, because I was crying earlier about it.
You are part of the tribe.
Happy to be
And
here.
we all have days. Guillermo.
I really like the idea, the way you put it. And since I went to Chicago and I met you guys, I changed completely my mindset. So it's something that you mentioned, reverse engineering. I'm an engineer. I'm doing it today. So I set goals, but my goals are not anymore based on motivation. I put away the motivation, and I'm now using discipline. So when you feel that you have discipline, like when you go into the army, you got to do your bed, and it got to be perfect. Nobody is going to tell you, hey, you need to be motivated. Somebody comes to you and then telling you, hey, you got to do it. You do it because you need to be disciplined. So I have like an example goals to read 24 books this year. And I know I need to do 2 books per month. And I divided the 2 books, and now I divide it by pages. So I need to read every day some kind of pages. And I force myself not to let my inner thought says, well, let's do it later. No, it's discipline. I'm doing by discipline. I have in my calendar now triple T, because learning from others, I know that I'm going to grow my mindset and think differently. So it's part of my new goals. It's part of my new routines, and just I'm floating with the rest. So thank you.
Honored to have you on here. And this is
Private now with a good group.
this is another reason why I tell my clients and students, you are one hello away from a completely different life. Reasons, seasons, lessons, lifetime, all of that. That's why I talk to so many people. Why I enjoy going out and meeting new people. Yeah, Chicago was awesome. And here's one of the byproducts. Guillermo is now part of the tribe. And we rolled right through that first hour, which means it's time to change things up. For those of you that are just joining us, the way it works now, second hour is open mic, open platform. Anybody on the call can ask a question, bring up a topic, and I let the people on the call answer first. So if you're watching on YouTube or watching a recording, please join us. You'll notice you don't even have to know how to spell NLP to come on here and ask questions, and we try to be easy to get along with. I think we are. So that being said, it's time to see how much silence we go through before somebody has a question like Holly. Holly.
Okay, so my first question for the week, we'll see if I only get to one, but that's totally fine. What are your favorite grounding techniques that all of you like to use? Because I'm looking for some new grounding techniques.
Great question. Who's got some stuff for Holly? Favorite grounding techniques?
Okay, I'll go.
Yeah.
The one now that automatically pops into my head.
Thought your mic went out.
You muted yourself?
I need to do that more often. The Ho'oponopono prayer, it's kind of multi-purpose. It's where I automatically go when I'm feeling a little angst, right? It's either for me or when I'm seeing somebody or something out there, which is, I'm sure you guys must know it, but it's the I love you, I'm sorry, please forgive me, thank you. Very simple, but yet highly effective. It just, or I just say God over and over in my head, source, over and over, and it brings me back down, or maybe the other way around. Maybe it just brings me up when I'm feeling down. But it seems very simple, but it's extremely powerful. I've had many experiences using that on myself, plus on, like I said, when I see some kind of circumstance, somebody is complaining that their bags weren't, or their groceries weren't bagged on the line, and being really bitchy and loud, and I'll just sit there in my head and I say that prayer, And it's really amazing how powerful it is. So anyway, that's my 2 cents worth on that.
Awesome. By the way, people want to know the name of the cat.
Oh, that's Snacks.
Snack.
Snacks the cat.
Hello, adorable.
Oh, yes. I had that name in my head for like decades that when I have a pet, I'm gonna name it Snacks. It just and he's a neighbor cat. His family calls him Leo, but we don't call him Leo. He lives right across the street. That's his real home, but he spends most of his time here.
Yep.
He's he's my spirit helper here. He'll come and sit and look out like animals do to protect the environment, you know. And he's very cool. He's a beast. He's 9 pounds, but he's the biggest mush you've ever met. I can bite him on his belly and he'll never scratch me or bite me. So super cool guy.
Yay, snacks. Lenora.
Oh my God. I love the name Snacks. Quick side note. So I mentioned my dad a couple of times on here, and my dad is super cheesy with the jokes, and I love it. And he wanted to name his dog. Had he ever gotten a dog, he was going to name it Lucky because the dog would be lucky to be his dog. So just wanted to put that one out there in the name of cute names.
That's funny. My neighbor just got his last dog passed away and he got a new dog and he named him Lucky.
Lucky?
Yes.
Aww. Now you can tell him he's lucky because he's lucky to be his
That's
dog.
right. Yep.
As for grounding techniques, Holly, there are I very much like Wim Hof breathing. I found it to be very structured. I found there's free YouTube videos. You can even download the app and he does like 5 free ones at the beginning of every month. I found that to be massively helpful. And for anyone who has a very active stomach or their stomach likes to look for food when their stomach's anxious, it is massively shifting. So huge supporter of that one. The other one, I'm going to hiccup, excuse me. The other one that I found very helpful is sitting in the morning and setting a timer. If you're not going to do Wim Hof breathing, setting a timer that says for 15 minutes and kind of jumping and shaking your body and doing different things. You can look into Qigong or, ways to get the fluid moving in your body first thing in the morning. And then sitting intentionally going, what is it that I need right now? If I want to be grounded, what do I need right now? And really breathing that through my body and also talking to whatever part does not feel like they're supported or grounded or understood, whatever it might be, and offering them reassurance and letting them calm down and then move throughout my day.
Good stuff. Mark.
Well, this is kind of a new revelation to myself that it's only about a week old, and sometimes you can get caught up with the minutia, the day-to-day stuff, and that'll just keep you distracted, Holly. If you want to, I think that what you're saying is when you want to ground yourself, and I wrote it down as embrace the awesome power of mystery, because we live in a magical, mysterious world where we don't know everything. There are a boatload of mysteries about our planet, our place in the cosmos, but I was watching those videos about that wanderer from another solar system that came through ours, but embrace the power when you want to ground yourself. And I just figured this out about myself. You embrace the power, the awesome power of mystery, of the unknown, to sit and ponder and to, again, I find that is very grounding. very calming to, just embrace, the power of mystery. I wrote that down and I'm like, that's a pretty powerful grounding technique, because you want to get out of the minutia. Well, chunk up and, embrace something we don't, you just, try to focus on that one thing. And that always seems to bring me back to earth. So that's my 2 cents.
Good stuff. Anybody else got anything they would like to share?
Nice cold beer helps once in a while.
Yes.
5 o'clock
True.
somewhere.
True.
Hot tub. Laying out on the grass under the stars. Sometimes it's just rocking out to your favorite music.
Yeah. That too.
Music for me is extremely powerful. I understand so much about the effects it has on me, and my poor wife and my neighbors have found out how diverse my music selections can be, and I'm all for it. But that's another one. That help you out, Holly?
Oh gosh, yes. I am just taking notes like a mad person here. Thank you.
You're welcome. Well, then I guess it's time for another question or topic. Who's got another one we can enjoy? Mark.
Try to mute. Wish certain people had a mute button, but that's not the
We were
question.
discussing that earlier.
I know you're not possibly talking about me.
No, I kissed the Blarney Stone, Ladora, so I have the power of gap. I am congenitally incapable of staying silent. But I had a question that popped up. We talk about, compound interest, and you take a penny, double it every day, and in a month you'd be a millionaire. I was having this discussion with a client about whether or not knowledge compounds, as we continue to evolve, does that knowledge, compound on itself? And he made the argument that maybe not knowledge, because it goes and fits and starts and bips and bops, but he said you could say that technology compounds. Okay. But I just wanted to throw that out there to the group, is that, because all the knowledge that we've accumulated as individuals and groups, again, does it compound on itself, become something synergistically greater? Not just technology, but knowledge. So that's the question.
Cool. Who's got it? Holly, right out of the bat.
I love this question. I'm going to say, first of all, absolutely everything compounds. Okay, maybe not everything. But first of all, I'm going to say that knowledge definitely compounds. And also, this can be a reason why somebody's behind and they don't even know it. I'm thinking about someone that I was tutoring in reading, and everybody's saying, oh, she doesn't tutor, she doesn't read at grade level and she's so far behind. Literally, the only thing she didn't know was the difference between consonants and vowels. It's such a basic thing, but if you think about it, I don't think we even realize how much, those first little things we learned younger, we added to them, we added to them, we added to them, they grew exponentially, and we don't even realize we lose what we originally built on because it's buried so deep underneath. And I think sometimes, it's never too late either. That's the cool thing is you may have learned all the other stuff. All you need is that one final piece, put it together, and you could start adding layers on top and on top and on top and on top. So, somebody who says that you're an idiot, it's not that you're an idiot. 9 times out of 10, there's one tiny little thing you missed. And if you can put that one tiny little thing in, everything is still there, and you can find that tiny little thing if you can find the right teacher. It's just about finding the right teacher. So, knowledge compounds, trauma compounds, healing compounds. I'd agree technology compounds. We talk a lot about habits compounding because, those first couple may, and that's the thing I think with compound too, is we do not realize the power and the size of the initial step. If you started when you were 1 year old putting $1 away every single day, you would be, let's just put it this way, much richer than you'd probably predict by the time you turn, 40. But, if you just learn one new fact every single day, your knowledge is going to grow much bigger than you could possibly ever imagine. If you do one small habit every single day, your habits are going to compound where you probably couldn't predict. And I think that's the thing is, size is not about the size of what you do. It's about the compounding. The only thing that ever creates size is compounding. And I think we think it's going to be the first, we have to take a huge first step. No, you just have to take a first step. And I promise everything you do, you may not think it's a big deal, but you smile at somebody on the road, it compounds. States, emotions, they all compound. And I also believe that time itself can compound as well, depending on how you use it. So exercise compounds, I'm sure there are things that don't, but I literally can't think of anything off the top of my head that doesn't compound. Probably because I'm primed to be thinking of things that do, but So yes, I absolutely love this topic, and I think it's a very important topic that we don't spend enough time talking about. So thanks for making me think about it that way.
Well, Einstein's quote that compound interest is man's greatest invention can, extend to everything you mentioned. So maybe when he said that, maybe he meant more than just money.
Yeah. Well, it fits the question of does knowledge compound fits right in with my teaching of who's the expert. And why would you want to take a class for the 20th time? Well, if you've got the time, take it, because there's a very good chance you're not the same person you were the first time you took the class, or the 5th time you took the class, or the 15th time you took the class. You've lived different lives, you've learned different things, and it may be in that 21st class where the teacher says something and something just clicks, and you see the whole process in a completely different way. And all of that knowledge that you've been stacking up falls into place just like that. It's happened to me, I don't know how many times. Lenora.
So this kind of goes in with, and I don't know what the thought process was here for it, so I'm just going to kind of put it out there. Even questioning if it compounds, whether it's money or not, who's asking, and what is the evidence that they have if it doesn't compound? What is the evidence that they have if it does compound? And the reason that I'm asking that is because there were so many times where I was saying to myself that I had this younger voice going, you're lying to yourself. Or if I share certain things with people and they'll say like, oh, you're just wearing rose-colored glasses, or you're lying to yourself, or how do you know you're not lying to yourself? And what I had come to realize was that hesitation was, you're not lying to yourself. That part or that thought is stuck in a vibration, and it's stuck in a frequency, and you're literally unplugging from that. And the way that it kind of appeared for me was in a switchboard. And I was like, oh, this is just a story I keep telling myself. You're lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. No, I'm not lying to myself. I'm just repeating the thought. So I had unplugged it. And when that happens, especially when we're questioning, like, does it compound? Okay, well, who taught us that it would compound? Who also taught us that it wouldn't compound? And I know for sure I learned this foundationally. So then this helped me better understand this. So this is now stacking on top of itself. So now we're compounding on top of itself. So even that background voice, when hesitation comes up or when fear, or like, how do you know this is going to happen? It's not looking for logical reasoning. It's looking for the closing of the loop, the unplugging of the thought that goes, oh, this thought isn't helping me anymore. Let me unplug from it so that I can raise up in my frequency and raise up in my vibration. That's what was kind of coming through for something else, and I thought it applied here. Hopefully that made sense.
Good stuff. Who else? Well, here's the flip side to that. Does stupidity compound?
Yes.
Ooh, I've met a few people where I'm like, you're going in the wrong direction at a rapid rate, and you seem to be happy about it. We are not the same.
Does ignorance compound?
Yeah. So, any ooh, Holly just put a good thought burner in there. Is it possible that you're lying to yourself when you say you're lying to yourself?
I think that's where your foundational truth would come in. Like, there are certain foundational truths that I think apply. So everything is energy. Are you lying to yourself about this? Or do we know this to be true? Can you get stuck in a low frequency? Can you get stuck in a low vibration? Do we know that to be true? And finding those threads. And one of them, I think I was in a conversation, I think it was actually TJ was coaching me, and I kept looping, and I was like, I'm just stuck in an argument with myself. So when do I want to stop? We have the ability to question absolutely everything. And at what point do you want to say, okay, here's what I know to be true. I know to be true from my understanding to this point that everything is energy. If I need to adapt and acclimate, then I will go from there. Here are the foundational truths. I choose my thoughts. I am the perceiver of my thoughts. I am the meaning maker in my life. I choose what I am focused on. I choose the story that applies. How can I use this knowledge to benefit me? So if I am lying to myself, is it helpful? Is it supportive? I can go and say, if I said I am the smartest person on the planet, okay, for me, I can feel that misalignment. I can say, I am the smartest I am today thus far in my life, because that to me is true. So noticing your sentence and where your sentence ends. A lot of people, I do notice this about people, they'll say, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough for what? Where is the sentence ending? I'm not good enough to breathe. I'm not worthy and deserving of breath. I'm not worthy and deserving of blood pumping through my veins. I'm not worthy and deserving of oxygen pumping through my veins. I'm not worthy and deserving of having a conversation. Okay, So now we have markers.
Yes.
So in that, what am I choosing? And if I'm here and I'm the perceiver of my thoughts and I choose my thoughts, who's to say it's a lie? Or am I playing as a player in this human experience that says, I came here, I am choosing to continue to participate because I'm not going to kill myself. So I'm choosing to continue to participate in this experience and elongating conversations that can sometimes feel like a ping pong game in your head, but starting to find those foundational truths of this I know to be true. I know that I'm here having an experience. I know that I am interpreting this experience through my senses. I know that if I cut myself, I will bleed. These are not lies. These are truths for me, and proceed as going forward. I love when
That's
Holly raises
one
her
of the joys of the human experience, that we get to have thoughts about thoughts, which can lead us into a very interesting spiral. And Guillermo put in the comments that he thinks that you need to align with your identity, which is right in line with values and criteria. So it's all the joys of all this stuff of the human experience. Holly.
Loving this conversation. So a couple thoughts that popped into my head that kind of apply. So the first thought I had is, Jordan Peterson talks a lot about the Pareto principle. And he talks about, in the Bible, they talk about, unto whom, basically the person who has the most gets more, and the person who has nothing gets even more taken away. And the point with the Pareto principle is you can change your direction, but once you get going in a direction, you accelerate at an exponential rate. And so I think compounding is that. It's not necessarily that once you're somewhere, you have to stay there. It's, yes, the hardest point is pivoting and turning in another direction. But once you get going in another direction, you can always change direction. And unfortunately, that's true in both ways. So you could be going up really high and then just randomly decide to pivot and turn down. Or you could be going down and suddenly pivot and turn around to get going up. But once you get going, they say 20% of people of any system has 80% of everything. So, 20% of speakers get 80% of the speaking opportunities. 20% of the actors get 80% of the acting roles, whatever it may be. But if you keep moving up to that point and you eventually hit that point where you're in that 20%, suddenly it's going to be you getting all of that. But also another thought about when we're worrying about telling ourselves truths or telling ourselves lies, which I think is a very important conversation that I definitely need to have. The first thing that we need to remember is, for it to have meaning, the most meaningful comparisons when we're looking to calibrate, are we on the right track? Are we moving where we should be going? Is not comparing ourselves to other people. One, you can never truly compare yourself to somebody else because you don't know their full story. You don't know what's actually happening. And you might get close, you might know more of their story. And you can use it for inspiration, you can use it for help, that sort of thing. But the other thing is they have different resources, different support systems, different everything, different personalities, different wiring in their brains. If you want to know where you're at, you should ask yourself, if I am putting in a reasonable, balanced effort that can be sustained over time, what is the best I can do with the knowledge and understanding and resources I currently have? And once again, it's about balanced. And then ask yourself, am I anywhere near that? You don't have to be at it. You don't always have to be doing 100% of the best you could possibly do. Are you close enough to that to be enough? And if the answer is yes, then your answer can be, I am doing what I should be doing. I'm on the path where I should be. And it's, I'm as intelligent as I can be because I'm, challenging myself. I'm still growing. I'm still learning. I'm the nicest person I can be. That doesn't mean you have to be the nicest person you know. It doesn't mean that you have to be the most intelligent person you know.
Mm-hmm.
It just means I am looking at the standard that's reasonable for me, and I'm dancing around it, and I'm near it most of the time. And that is good enough. And I'm going to be kind to myself because what I'm doing is good enough. Because better than good enough isn't honestly possible. Like you might be able to be good enough, better than that for 1 hour, but the effort is going to be so bad that it's going to drain you, and then the next 2 hours you're going to be awful. So, and trying to compare yourself to the person who lives next door when they've got different inputs and you don't even see their full story is just either you're going to feel superior to them in an unfair way, or you're going to feel inferior to them in some unfair way, and it's not helpful. Other than, like I said, unless you're looking at them for inspiration, or I would say if they're reaching out to you for help and asking for inspiration from you as well. So yes, we could be together, we could support each other, we could cheer each other on, we could give that external viewpoint. But if you want to know if you're doing well enough, if you want to know if you're where you should be and on the right path, compare to what you're capable of and ask yourself, am I doing a reasonable job staying there? Recognizing I have to sustain effort over time.
As always, Holly, great insights. Who's got some comments, ahas, epiphanies on that? Hello? You blew them all away. Everybody's... Mark.
I don't know why the squirrel kept whispering this in my ear, but it was a quote from Marcus Aurelius. I guess, again, it's what is a thing in itself? What, again, is it exists. It's, it is a, and what is the nature of that thing? But the question kept bouncing in my head. What is a thing in itself? And it belongs to itself. It is independent of you, other people. Like I said, it's what is it in itself? Like I said, in a relationship, what is it in itself? It's an attempt, it's an attempt to, for two people to get along, but it's a great question that he asked so long ago. What is a thing in itself? So when Holly was talking, that was the only thing that the squirrel kept whispering.
Yeah. Thank you. Who else has got something to throw in on that? Or is it time for another topic? Anybody got another question, topic they can throw in? Hello? Holly,
Well, if nobody else is going to go, I do have one.
please.
So I'm trying to do a better job of looking for smaller wins rather than just focusing on the big wins. So I'm just curious, kind of going with the this year topic that we were talking about earlier, 26.2. What are some of the small wins that some of you are willing to share that you've had in your life in 2026? And once again, I'm looking for the small things, so not like the huge, big things, but just maybe you smiled at somebody, maybe just the fact that you woke up one day. What are the things that you count as small wins that you would like to celebrate as small wins?
Ooh, good question. Who's got an answer for Holly? Really?
Maybe I'll start off since I'm the one that asked the question.
There you go.
One of the small wins for me is I just bought the necessary cutlery so that I can eat healthier at work. So I think that's a definite small win for me.
Mm-hmm. Who else has one? Mark.
A couple things pop into my mind. One is I'm not, again, I'm not fond of the medical model of just managing symptoms. I want to heal, I'd like to heal, and so I knew that there was something out there that could help me heal what's wrong with my heart. And I logged on to this podcast, so I never knew it just popped up on my Facebook feed, and he was talking about a essential oil called strophanthus, and that's a small win. I just ordered some, and I'll let you know whether or not it helps my heart heal. Uh, because I'm not fond of just staying. It's like even with my clients, I get little wins, positive things when they come in and report to me that things are getting incrementally better, small wins, and that's how you build momentum with small wins.
Yep.
And so, yeah, I've had, like I said, his little wins, like I said, small wins, they compound. um, and they create momentum. So that's my 2 cents.
Awesome. Who else has some small wins they're willing to share? I mean, I got a cool dog laying over there. He's only been here for got him Sunday. So the fact that he's already chill and very attached to me, good. Anybody else? Or is it time for another question or topic? Holly, you got some more?
Questions or small wins?
Either or.
I mean, I guess I've got one small win that just came to my mind as I did make it to the gym one time last week, so that's huge for me. Small, but it's a huge small win.
Yep.
Okay, I guess I do have another question. We'll see if anyone has anything to say about this one or not. So I've been thinking a lot about balanced safety. So the idea of building healthy boundaries rather than just tearing. So, there's lots of, one example would be you don't want to take away somebody's fear of standing in the middle of the freeway is the one example I use a lot. But another one might be, if you have a very toxic family, you don't want to tear down your boundaries just before you go to Christmas dinner with all your family and tell yourself, oh yeah, you're safe and you're going to be around people who, so how is it all of you do the balance of removing unhealthy boundaries that keep the good stuff out while still making sure you have healthy boundaries that keep out the unhealthy, unsafe stuff, if that makes sense. So making sure that you're removing, I don't know if I'm asking this even very well either, but the unnecessary fears, the unnecessary safety lessons, the stuff that's outdated that needs to be updated. How do you get rid of those, but still make sure that you have healthy boundaries in place that are actually updated and are actually needed for a reason?
Great question. Who's got an answer for that? You missed it?
I missed it. I'm sorry. I heard boundaries in place that are updated.
I'll repeat the question, and I'm not asking it very well probably, but when we're doing our work and we're clearing stuff and doing techniques, whatever, how do you do the balance of making sure that you're removing unnecessary boundaries, the stuff that keeps the good stuff out, that's out of date, that's unhealthy, that's toxic, whatever, while at the same time making sure you keep the boundaries, the lessons, whatever it may be, that keep the bad stuff out. So the example I was giving is you don't want to, if somebody has a lot of anxiety with walking outside, you might want to get rid of their fear of walking outside, but you don't want to get rid of their fear of walking in the middle of the freeway, just as an example, if that makes sense.
That definitely makes sense. I think recognizing, especially because walking outside, I mean, whether it's a freeway or down a dark alley that clearly looks like a crack den, having them recognize whether they're in a conversation with you or whether they're in a formal trance, what safety outside looks like to them. Because safety outside to them could look like being in a park on a sunny day, or it could look like their neighborhood or cast day. What does safety look like? And then also adding in, what does unsafe look like outside to them? Very specifically, I keep going back to them because they already have their picture of what safety looks like. So when it comes to, again, even with boundaries, you want to be able to say yes and no to certain things. You don't necessarily want to say no to everything, because if somebody's inviting you to, you know, their birthday party that's at Applebee's, that sounds delicious and I love mozzarella sticks. If they're inviting you out to go do something where it feels inauthentic or illegal to you, you want to be able to say no in that comfortable way. So again, what does that boundary look like, and exploring what that boundary looks like for them would be my thoughts on that one.
Good stuff. Who else has some input for this? I think, again, one of the things that you have to realize while you're growing, boundaries change, and protective empathy is still very important. And it affects not only the people around you, but yourself as well. You have to take the time to understand that you're growing and there will be challenges. And that's where having your goals figured out and how to protect yourself so that you can stay on that path is very important. Like Lenora said, you know, when you're going to be going out to hang out with some friends that haven't advanced like you have. You know, your old drinking buddies, your friends that want to meet you down at the Golden Corral buffet so that they can have 17 trips. And realizing that you used to join them, but now there's like 3 things there that you kind of are willing to eat, and not let them
Golden Corral.
and not thank you, and not let them give you a hard time about now that you have different goals in mind. Don't get me wrong, I've gotten kicked out of a couple of buffets.
I like Denny's.
Lenny's.
Denny's and Lenny's.
There. Do we look better now, Greg?
Yeah. Ever
Can
so
Snack
slightly.
see us?
Snack he has disappeared at the moment. He was sitting over there, but he's not here right now. Probably out hunting.
I
And
do have a
that's-
Golden Corral near me, Miss Nancy. My dad always jokes about it.
Yep, the eat till you pop buffet.
I have a celebration.
Tell us.
I just finished restoring this guy.
Wow. That is
Very
super.
nice. And what is that?
It's a mid-70s Technics direct drive turntable.
Yes.
Classic. Yep.
I
And
remember when it used to be in my house.
and for the people that are interested in it, how much and how can they get a hold of you?
Well, this particular one is a customer's that I restored for him.
Ah,
But that one is probably about $550 for that guy retail now.
there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So if any of you out there are thinking about any vintage audio equipment whatsoever and you're wondering if it's a good unit, if it's worth putting money into,
Yep.
Mr. Duncan's the man to go to.
I'm your guy.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Free information. I'm always willing to give out free information.
Yes.
Yep.
Guillermo.
I might as well show you this. Show
Look
you.
at that.
I just did new grill cloth. These are Wharfdales from England from the 60s.
Right on. I know
So
what those
fun.
are.
Anyway. These
We
are
need
mine.
to take a
These are
road
for
trip
sale.
to Duncan's shop.
The what?
We need to take a road trip to Duncan's shop.
Yes. It would be definitely worth the travel time and the gasoline. But yep. Yep.
Maybe I just need to put on a training in San Diego and then we can all just go there and write
Call
it off as
Childers.
business expense. And
Yeah, there you go. That'd be great.
Childers or Childers? Which one? I'm messing it up.
huh?
Michael.
Always, yes.
Childers. Okay.
Yep.
Oh, Nancy
Yes.
added
We'll
on the
spend
beach.
some time on the beach and yes.
Yeah.
Guillermo, you got your hand up.
Oh yeah, no. To respond to Holly question, so I really do have a really toxic family-in-law that it breaks every single boundary, and they're trying to manipulate your thoughts. But now, every time that I get in close to them, what I do is I visualize the conversations that I'm going to have with them. I train myself that where those comments and where those things they will come from, and I talk to myself to say I don't need to get into the reply to that of any of the questions or any of the comments. It doesn't mean that I'm better than them. It means that not engaging, it will not give the power to take my identity and the way I feel uh, at a dinner or whatever.
Yep. Part of what you just described, Guillermo, I teach as diffuse the bomb. If you can anticipate what is going to be thrown at you, there are ways that you can diffuse it before they get a chance to set off the bomb. And part of it is protective empathy, part of it is language training, but it's all self-preservation. And the better you get at it, the lower your stress level is when dealing with humans in their natural environment.
Well, that's fantastic. I've been learning those kind of things based on all the conversations that we are having here.
Yes.
Change my mindset.
Yep. And one of the metaphors that I've used is getting hit by a 2x4 hurts. But how much it hurts often depends on how you got hit. if you're walking behind somebody and they're carrying a 2x4 on their shoulder and you're not quite paying attention and they turn the corner and it hits you, it hurts. But you understand it was not intentional, and part of it was potentially your fault for not being aware of the environment. But if the person walks right up to you, looks you in the eye, and cracks you one with a 2x4, even if it's with the exact same force as before, it hurts more, it hurts different because of the intent and getting hit with malice. And so if you're going into a combative environment, like you watch guys that go into the boxing ring or MMA or all that stuff, they get hit very hard. And they're still able to take it. Even like our football players or rugby. You look at some of the hits these guys take over and over and over, but they're in a mindset, they're in the game. People have said that some of the hits that these players get is like being hit by a car going 30 miles an hour. And yet they get up and get right back in the game because of the mindset. And if you can get your mindset proper to go into some of these verbal environments, the words that are going to be said don't land nearly as hard as they could or maybe have in the past. Mark.
Yeah, there's some martial arts disciplines that if someone throws a punch at you, you use their own force against them. If they're and when we're dealing with words, again, you can you got to have the right mindset, like TJ said. Also, the skill set to just reflect it back, echo it back. When you're asked a toxic question, echo it back. Try to get or toxic comment. I said just echo it. Just when in doubt, echo it out. And let the other person talk. And again, it's like martial arts training. You got to know how to use an opponent's energy against them. And when you're dealing with verbal, repartee, you just get the more you learn the skill set, you gotta have the mindset that nothing they say can really bother me unless I allow it to. But the skill set is to, just give them their words back there, and keep them talking, and but it doesn't have to, they can't land a punch if they can't find if every time they throw a barb your way, you just echo it back to them. Again, it's a lot of martial arts are like that.
Yes.
That you just take their energy and turn it back upon them. And if they throw a punch at you that could, hurt you, you take that energy, turn it back, and it's probably enough energy to break a bone. So
Yep.
you just, like I said, you're, you go into but you got to have the right mindset, and then you have to just practice enough so you have the right skill set. And that's repetition of just echoing and just letting the other person, talk and the favorite words that a human being likes to hear are the ones that just came out of their mouth. So that's my thought.
Yep. Ladonna.
One of the things that was always, I find it to be more and more helpful when we're talking, and even as you're imagining the situation, pause, go inward, and recognize, especially for that subconscious voice or that younger part that might come up that goes, what if they say this? Or if you have imaginary fights in your head and you realize that you're getting frustrated or you're thinking, I can't say that. To help that part of you know that no matter what happens, you have their back. You are the one speaking now. And as you're doing this inner work and having these conversations in your head, when that part of, well, what if this happens? Or what if they say this? Or what if they make me feel bad? And you hear that younger voice, or you hear that inner critic of, don't do this, don't do that. When you can hold them in that part of you, when you can hold that whatever label you want to give it, in a state of safety, just as if you're talking to one of us, or you're talking to somebody that you really, really trust and you have great rapport with, and that there is no judgment and there is no shame. That's what that younger part needs, because at one point they were shamed, they were put down, they were guilted, they were told that they couldn't say these things, or, hold your tongue, or you don't talk to me like that, and who do you think you are? Whatever they were told. The you of today comes in and let them know that they are now protected.
Yes.
They now have someone to speak on their behalf. They are no longer in trouble. No one's mad at them. No one's going to hurt them, because no matter what, you are the new version. You are the version having the conversation, not them. And find a way to get them in a space that feels so safe that they can relax, and that, I love that, Guillermo, and that they have a trust with you. Because you can then go into the conversation with a different mindset. And even some things that I've had some very difficult conversations with some people that are very, very close to me. And when I first started to do this, you would hear my voice crack. Yeah. I would stand in the conversation and I would hold my back so that I didn't collapse, and that I didn't slash, and that I didn't fall over, and that I didn't collapse into this younger part. I would force myself to stand in an upright position. And I promise you, you will get stronger at this. You will get better at this. And there will come a point where you will have a conversation and you're going to go, I'm okay. You even if you're in the conversation, still hold the frame, still, have that. And you can go to the bathroom afterwards and you can take a couple breaths and let your whole body re-regulate. But it is so, so, so powerful. Those are those portals that I've often said, like, I thought I was going to walk through a portal and everything was going to be different. The portal doesn't look like what I thought it was going to look like. But those are extraordinarily powerful for you.
Yep. 100%.
That is
And
very, very, very powerful. That's, I guess you could call it unconditional love, right? When somebody's just being them, their conditioned, wacky, fear-filled self, and you can be there and mirror to them that they're okay, that they're no different than anybody else, and just give them some love and some understanding and let them be heard. Oh my God, that's magnificent, really.
and another thing is, remember a couple of key things. Nothing means anything until you give it a label.
Yep.
And words don't hold energy except for the energy that you give them.
Yep.
And I've proven this to many of my clients who have heard some of the most vicious, vile, attacking words ever.
Yep.
And the easiest way I've shown that it's not the words is I'll have them repeat those same things exactly the way they recorded it. And then I'll have them say it in a couple of different voices like Mickey Mouse and Goofy. And pretty soon they're saying these evil, nasty, vile words and they're chuckling. And they realized it wasn't the words, it was the meanings, the meaning they attached to it. And if they can change it just by simply changing their voice when they're saying it, they realize they have power over the recordings.
Yep.
They have power over what was said to them, and they get to decide, is it worth letting it affect you or not?
Yep.
And speaking of words, just like that, we've said enough words that we are out of time. Bada bing! Just like the 4 golden corrals left in Minnesota. Time dwindled quickly. And so I get to once again thank you all so much for offering up your precious commodity of time. I will always say I don't know how to replace it and give it back to you. You'll be the second person to know when I figure that out. But until then, to have you guys here on this platform as part of the tribe to make this all happen 215 times now. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. For those of you watching on YouTube, I get to say, love you, Mom. See you next week. And for those of you watching the recording, please do me a favor. And if you found any value in this, click the like button, click the subscribe button, and share these videos with people that may get something out of it. Obviously, I'm not here doing this to become rich. I'm doing this because I just want to help people.
Amen.
That's it. Straightforward. I just want to help people. So
Yep.
you guys have helped me help people, and I appreciate that. Love you all, and hope to see your beautiful smiling faces back here in 7 glorious days. Go out, live life as great as possible. Love y'all. Bye.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you,
Bye.
TJ.
Hey,
Bye.
peeps.
Good night.